Legs up the wall is one of my favorite recovery poses. So this morning we went for a bike ride and I can feel my hip flexors tight. And this pose really helps you find range of motion in the other areas of your body besides just flexion extension that you do when you're biking. So I'm just going to start with a little bit of rotation, thinking about my thighs rolling inward and my thighs rolling outward. You can do one leg at a time. The range of motion isn't as important as the smoothness. So just feel how smoothly you can open and how smoothly you can close. What's important here is that you're not leading with your ankle or your knee, that you're really attempting to use the inner thigh muscle and the outer thighs to do the roll in and roll out. In this kind of resting body position, you give the hip flexors a little bit of break, so they quite enjoy it. This is the muscle you're trying to use on the inner thigh. You can notice what the difference is between your right leg and your left leg too. Often there's one leg that's kind of smoother, one leg that's more jumpy. You've got one leg that feels stiff and tight, one leg that feels a little bit looser. You're just messing around, noticing. All right, when you're ready for the next pose, just drop your right ankle over your left shin and use the thigh muscle to pull the heel down. Keep this ankle at a nice 90 degree because that will just engage a chain of muscles through the leg. Then you push from the top of the thigh to take the heel up and you pull down. So here you're not leading with the heel. You're really trying to use the upper thigh muscles to find your push and your pull. Not quite in the straight line that you would be biking. So slightly different range of motion than the range of motion you'd be using on your bike. Let that heel just drop down where it's comfortable and then find an open close pattern. Allowing the thigh to move towards the wall and back again. What you're watching here is that your pelvis stays still. That there's no tip. I usually use my fingertips on my hip bones so that I can feel any movement that's happening underneath there. If you're a hyperextender and your knees lock here, then I would definitely have you put a bend in the knee that's on the wall so that you're not hyperextending and locking that top leg, or either leg if they're both straight. When you're done, you just reach that heel up, untangle. Here, if your knees are locking, then it's better to be in a slightly bent position than it is to just pop those knees backwards. Bad call. All right, let's do the other leg. So left crosses over right. Allow that heel to be pulled down, the ankle at the nice 90-degree angle, then push this thigh back up again. Allow it to be pulled down and reach it back up. Remember, you're using the thigh muscles, so really find your awareness of those muscles. Release sort of effort that you're pulling in on the heel or the knee. And if that range of motion to be smooth is smaller, that's fine. The smoothness of the range of motion is more important than how big you make it. So remember, we're never going for the biggest range of motion, we're going for the smoothest range of motion. Heel comes down, knee opens and closes. You can start to feel the difference between your right hip and your left hip here too. The 3 movements that I've done are all helping my thigh bone find all the different ranges of motion that my hip bone has to offer. So the way the ball and socket joint works at the hip, I've just tested all the different ranges of motion in the hip socket, which is a really good balancing action when you've just been doing something like cycling or running, when you're just using a singular range of motion a lot. Coming back up, lengthen. You might want to end by just letting the feet come onto the wall. If your knees are closer or further away from the wall than your hips, then just scoot yourself back a bit. Just do some foot presses into the wall. So usually when you foot press into the wall, you can push so hard you can feel your whole body being pushed up and away. Go small enough that really all you're doing is engaging muscles through the line of your leg to the hip socket. You're letting your low back be soft, your shoulders be soft, and the back of your head be soft. And you're just finding a really subtle foot press to the wall. Nice. Enjoy.